Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod, the apex predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. Coming here talking to you as we do every week about Backyard Survivor One Well. This episode, we're covering episode 8. We have 2 interviews of the double boot. And sadly, Dani is unwell, so I'm just welcoming one of my guests, but I'm sure we'll be able to talk your ears off nonetheless. Let me welcome, as always, Jules.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I'm fresh off being voodoo idoled for a second time in this.
I was watching that live and I was like, oh my God, of course it happens to CK. The advantage that I hate more than anything, and it gets you a second time.
Look, it was a fun competition organised by James Wolfe and the people that helped him run it. Really well organised, really well run, lots of fun, lots of dumbass twists, but that's the whole point of Sequester. That's the way the game is. So you don't complain about it, and it leaves everyone in good spirits because, generally speaking, it's a bit of dumb luck as to how you go. Obviously, I was happy to see my pre-game. I had numerous pre-game alliances, but my pre-game alliance of Loz, Squin, and Dani make the final 3. I cast and look, I could have been there. I could have been in Dan's spot. You know, I only got destroyed by this damn voodoo advantage, and you know, I was unlucky to be up for grabs anyway by the spinning wheel. So could have gone well, but I'm happy with the game I played. I was in a good position. I annoyed Dan and got him targeting me. Then I fixed it. It was a whole saga. I was up and down. You know, that's the way I like to play. But great to see a fellow Orca, Dani, getting to the end. She got my vote. You know,
let's be fair. I wasn't there. I didn't watch her. I just saw the updates. But she's against 2 people, Canberra versus the world. And how many of those people were on the jury? She had an uphill battle. Dani is the winner in my heart.
Look, I love Dani and I voted for her. But if I'm speaking truthfully, Loz played the best game and Squin had the best final travel council. So that vote was really out of love and loyalty.
And there's nothing wrong with a loyalty vote.
The thing we applaud Dani, though, before we move off from this event, is that she played a really subtle game. Loz was Loz. Dani wasn't Dani. Dani was a bit in the back seat. Dani was using Loz as a shield. Dani was there playing that subtle.
Took a back seat.
That's right. That was what her whole FTC was about too, because if people were like, you didn't do anything. She's like, I did lots, but I managed to keep myself low, not take the credit, not be out in front, effectively not orca it up, and which was effective, except, you know, at the end.
For an orca to not be orca, like, that's
so hard. So we applaud her for doing that. Very, very impressive effort from Dani and everyone involved in the LRG Collide. Now, we've got 2 interviews. So what we've decided to do is we're going to jump into the Tara interview and we'll get all our thoughts of the episode, do Kate, and then get into TWIOLSH. There's one final thing I should have mentioned. Last week, it would have been good if I knew this last week. Last week was our Orcaversary. It was our 2-year Orcaversary since we commenced the podcast. I was doing Canberra Survivor 2 with Max and Annabelle. But in that 2-year period, we have done 91 episodes.
Really?
So out of 104 weeks, we have aired something 91 times, which I think is an incredible effort. With, of course, our rank down and various seasons that we've covered.
Yep.
So episode 100 is coming up. We have to do something fun. We have to do something fun for episode 100. But
also, since we barely spoke about last week, I took the liberty of writing down the scores for the draft. So with Tara going, you get an extra 10 points, taking you up to 16. With Kate going, I got 11 points, taking me to 22. So this is in a very interesting spot. Final 7. People's Champion is still there. And the 3 of us have 2 people left each. And the scores are, you're 16, I'm 22, Dani's 24. So the top is very close. I'm coming for you, Dani. I'm going to take it this time.
Jacob Zoe final 2. I win the whole thing. That's what's happening. Boom. All right, let's go into the Tara vid.
I have a tendency to make my mark, so I'm glad I did.
Hello, Tara, and welcome to the Orca Pod. So glad to have you on again. How do you feel having now joined the very exclusive club of people that have played in 2 LRGs, and perhaps even more exclusive, played in 2 LRGs from different franchises?
It feels like I'm part of like a unique club. That's exactly what it is. It feels I'm a part of the elite, the one percenters, someone just gifted with really good luck and something worth casting. I mean, I'll be honest, it feels pretty good, CK.
A lot of the people that have done that have often made merge on both occasions or on multiple occasions in the case of Keegan. Did you have any fear coming into this game that you might not reach that milestone and if that could impact your legacy from how strong of a player you were at Melbourne, Warrandyte?
Oh, my legacy, my legacy. Yeah, of course I was a bit scared. Like, we've all got an ego, nothing wrong with that, but I do think I have a more potent ego than the average person. So of course it was something that weighed heavily on my mind. Like if I'm a first boot or like an early pre-merge boot, I was like, damn, like I wouldn't really be as much a part of the story or make my mark on the season, but I think I have a tendency to make my mark. So I'm glad I did.
You didn't seem to have much of an interest, despite this, in playing it safe. Once you got into your pink tribe, if we do look at the first episode, it seemed like you were making every effort to play yourself down in every possible manner.
Yeah, I mean, I said it many times throughout the season. Like, yeah, I was trying to lay low. It's not in my wiring. I think, you can take the, you can look at the game in such a way where, um, it does bring out just who you are as a person. In any sort of survival based scenario, you're going to be acting out of like what your natural survival mechanisms are. And I think most of my survival mechanisms have involved making myself a bigger presence, like to have some semblance of like control and agency in life to some degree. I think watching like back this season after Melbourne's Survivor, which was 4 years prior to the filming of Backyard, and seeing that it was still so many of the same tendencies coming out, like even 4 years later, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. This is just who I am, and we can roll with that, you know. And I'm just grateful for the experience most of all, though.
I think that's a good point because I don't think you played an entirely different game.
Not at all. Not at all.
You were essentially the same person. One of the critical things that you did early, after the first episode, where I think you did everything you could to lay low, you were the one that pushed for the original groupings to become the tribes. You probably felt safe in that group with the people that were
Yeah.
there. Did you have any hesitation in making that suggestion?
The only hesitation was like, yeah, I hope this sparks more discussion about where other people's heads are at. But I was a little concerned if no one else spoke up afterwards. And unfortunately, my gut instinct that that could happen was exactly what happened. I did, however, feel like extremely comfortable with that group of people. I wanted to avoid people that had played with me before or knew of me or anything like that, purely so I could establish some firm ties with people that could build that trust on a blank slate. And yeah, build a bit of an army for myself. But we can talk more about how that all ended up playing out in a bit. But I really liked the idea of working with Kate and Tarkan, and in the most blunt way possible, having some people like DC and Coach that in my mind would be easy boots from that tribe if we went to tribal.
You also didn't attempt to really claim the initial bounty idol.
No.
Was that simply a factor of not wanting to stand out too large too soon?
I would say that was part of it, but I also think it's one means of trying to build trust. Like I think in a lot of these games, there's a natural inclination for people to keep cards close to their chest if the game mechanic is presenting you with some sort of advantage or something, even if it's in public, the contents of what it is are private and for your eyes only. However, this was going to be an instance as well where two other people would know exactly what it was. I assumed they would try keep that information close to their chest, and I was right. Zoe didn't seem to care too much about it at all, but Mark, I saw Mark and I clocked like Orca energy real quick, and I was like, I can't help it with these like Orca energy dudes. I always want to align with them because I'm just like, yes, like this is someone that will want to work with me, and I can point as the bigger target. Unfortunately, while it worked in Warrandyte a little bit against my will, it didn't work in this season. But yeah, I wanted to have Mark in the game as the big target, and I definitely wanted to make sure I wasn't seen as someone with anywhere near as much agency. So yeah.
Some way through the pink grouping, you decided that you thought about throwing the challenge
100%.
just because you were bored, or what was the objective there? And who would you have been looking to target? Would it have been DC or would it have been Coach?
It could have really truly been either of the two of them. But I was serious about my idea to throw. I think it's something like, in hindsight, I do think there's a natural stigma towards throwing challenges, and you can rub people the wrong way by proposing an idea like that. But I did really trust Kate and Tarkan to like not weaponize that information that I think it might be an idea worth doing against me. And I don't think they ever did. I do think if we had thrown a challenge in that round, it would have been ultimately better for my long-term game. It would have kept Mel Sheen in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we weren't like friends or anything before going into the game, but I think we both like knew of each other and wanted to align with one another. And I think it would have helped to have another like returnee player on side moving into the merge. I think it also would have, if I had ended up at merge with the two green girls plus Mel Sheen, I really think that would have given me a much better means of working with those people outside my pink crew.
Let's talk about the green girls and the swap situation. A bit of a swap screw for you, where you're able to masterfully work your way out of it. It still baffles me at this point of the edit why the green girls saved you over Jacob, only then to immediately turn on you and try to go back with Jacob once he came back in the game.
I'm unfortunately, like, while it sucked, it didn't really baffle me. I thought I could see to some degree it was as a result of just the, like, Jess and Zoe, they'd been kind of separated from a lot of the zeitgeist of the overall game of what was going on Orange Tribe, what was going on in Pink Tribe. And I do think, like, you can see Haley spreading it around all season, especially to her core Orange friends, you know, watch out for Tara, watch out for Tara, watch out for Tara. I think it was only a matter of time until that energy caught on to, you know, Jess and Zoe, and it quickly would have turned them, they would have seen more like dangers in being aligned with me. And I think they're both, while I think they're both highly intelligent, I think they're both real freshies when it comes to playing Survivor with some degree of confidence. And I think, I think they maybe just got a little bit scared of all the potential ramifications and couldn't synthesize that information fast enough, and just took it back a step and essentially undid the decision to work with me. I do think perhaps I could have outright handed Jess my extrovert advantage. But I will say, like, you can see it in the episodes, like, Jess and Zoe for a while were still like, and we still have Tara's extrovert that we could use. Like, they weren't ruling it out as a thing that they could use.
Except you had promised to hand it to them after the vote, and you never did. Were they calling for this?
I don't know if I don't even know. I might have to look back at like my exact wording, but I mean, I should have. To be completely fair with you, I was just kind of like, oh, it's probably chill if I just hold on to it, and like if they ask for it, I can give it to them maybe, or like consider giving it to them. but in hindsight, I think they would have really felt that like that sense of comfort in the tangible item, and it would give them a bit of clarity on you know how the extra vote works and things like that. Because yeah, I think that's what some people like, the abstract is not enough. Like they need that like hard evidence. But
Well,
yeah.
of course, the extra vote almost came into some very excellent moment in this episode. If it wasn't for Megan's additional extra vote ruining the fun,
Yeah.
you were proposing to use that to create a 3-3,
Yeah.
and obviously weren't able to convince Megan that, or Takan was not able to convince Megan that he was with them sufficiently for her not to play it, even though he was with them.
Yeah.
I guess the question I would have is, this was getting into some very murky territory about the application of extra
Yes.
vote rules. Did you clarify this considerably with the production?
Of course, yeah, of course. I literally, there were moments in between challenges and going back to camp time, where we would all be isolated and served fruit platters. And while I was in isolation, I remember asking a member of production to give me like a copy of the rules so I could re-go over the specifics, because it wasn't on my parchment. It did not say as to whether it transferred through on a revote or not. And I've seen both. I've played enough orgs, I've watched enough Survivor, I've seen both. Yeah, so I needed to clarify that. But in hindsight, regardless of whether I clarified it or not, I did just want to use the idea of it could go to rocks to flip someone. It was never about ever actually trying to tie the vote. It was more about trying to flip someone because they're scared of what could happen if it goes to rocks. And I will say, however, the rules and production never clarified to me during the game what the truth was. I actually genuinely didn't know. So I had to just operate under the assumption of like, well, I know I've got an extra vote that's going to apply for the first round of votes. I don't know what the fuck happens on a revote. Kyle has since clarified to me that it does carry through on the revote. However, if they're voting for me, I wouldn't be able to vote on the revote. So what I should have done in that last round is give my extra vote to Tarkan, maybe ask for his shot in the dark and just try my luck one extra time. I don't know if it really seemed like it wasn't going to work, but it needed to be Tarkan to play that because the votes were going to be on me.
Yes.
And I definitely also overplayed my hand by mentioning to Megan about me having the extra vote. The reason I did that was because I wanted because this was my first real like interactions with Megan. I think with Haley more dealing with the other group, it freed up Megan to work with me a bit more, in theory, in my mind, because I'd always heard all these things like Haley's coming for you, Haley's coming for you. So I more wanted to make it seem like to Megan and to Zoe that I wanted each of them to come with me to turn against the other, potentially even getting, you know, extra votes cast in different directions, which would have been nice in theory. But yeah, that was kind of my thoughts on that round.
You were the only person that seemed to even want to question Mark's bounty hunter super idol, and then he came away with the ripped up paperwork and the examples. You were digging into it. You seemed to be the only one that was reasonably suspicious of it, but even you had your doubts. As someone who likes big moves and big players, how do you feel experiencing that particular move, which did work very effectively for him?
100%. This was the right cast to use, the right cast and the right game format to pull something like this off. I think in most other types of formats where it's less twist and advantage heavy, I think it's more people are going to be skeptical quicker. They're going to be like, what the hell? This is really out of nowhere. But in this season where so much is going on, I think Mark had a good sense of what was plausible to sell, and he pulled it off. I think it was really clever of him to add the clause of if the original people that received the bounty advantage all made its merge, it made this valid. So that gives it that kind of extra degree of, Yeah, no. This was a real thing written on a real piece of parchment. And I thought that was a really smart play. However, I was suspicious because I just know super idols have a real. Everyone hates super idols. Like the community hates them. So I think I was just like, would Kyle and Brian genuinely put like the most hated, like game breaking thing into the game? Part of me was like, maybe just because they want to try some shit out. It felt like this season they were trying a lot of different shit out.
There's a lot of stuff. So
But I needed to verify. I needed to look at the fucking parchment, and Mark had been someone in the game that would actually talk strategy with me. So I did think it might be overstepping a little bit, but I think Mark's the type to overstep a little bit as well if he wants something. So I think it can still be, if he feels like he can defend his ripped off piece of parchment to me, he's going to be comfortable showing that to me, which I think was a little bit of a mistake, and it could have gotten him into hotter water if I was able to convince more people that this was a problem, and maybe actually get people to cast votes on Mark instead. But I think people were too afraid to consider that. I think too many deers in headlights, unfortunately.
And obviously, look, it was fantastic to watch you again. You were once again this big character with lots of strategic moves. As we said, similar to Warren Diet, but as you know, Warren Diet was one of the first seasons that I watched, and watching yourself and Calvin on it inspired me to want to play these games. So I'm like, these guys are really good players, but they're also really great characters. At least I did one of those things on my season, the character one. It was great to see you play again. It was everything that, I think everyone that was a fan of you would hope to see. And you obviously brought your energy. You've never officially been deemed an Orca, but I think you're an honorary Orca energy to the season, which we love to see. And it was so good watching you again.
I appreciate that. No.
Do you have any final comments before we finish it off?
Final comments. Shit, that's a lot of pressure. I want to have a final comment. I should have thought of a final comment to leave everyone with. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Who's your winner pick at this stage of the game?
Jacob. It's been Jacob for a long time.
Since how long?
Probably episode 1, 2.
Damn, bitch.
He has very strong winner energy in his edit. And he's exactly the sort of player that is in the right place to get there. And I am still very much hoping for my Jacob Zoe final 2 because it gives me a chance to not lose the bet. And I do think that is possible.
Yes. The bet. Yeah.
But obviously, I would love to see Mark go as far as he can because I have him as a pick. He's my last pick. Oh, I've got Jacob as well. I've lost you now. But Mark is just amazing on this season. He's bringing such incredible quality. I want him to last as long as he can. And I assume he'll play his idol this week. So we're at least getting him for another 2 episodes, which is exciting.
Mark is very much an Orca through and through. He's got my vote for Orca.
I think he's going to be hard pressed to lose it. But the voting has not happened yet, and stranger things have happened. All right, thank you, Tara. Really appreciate it, and thank you for everything you do. Supporting our show.
Thank you as well.
Wow. If you didn't already know she was a huge threat, just watch that. Like, just the way she speaks, it just, ugh.
Wouldn't it be amazing to see her make a final tribal council one day? It should be impressive.
Would be amazing. And yes, just because she didn't win Orca of the season for Warren Diet, she probably won't win Orca of the season here. She's still definitely an Orca.
The chat's going off. This Matt Forrest, who I've never seen, first time live, long time watcher perhaps. Not sure of Matt, but he has put a question.
Yeah, he's very concerned about an orange thing. I think that's something we're going to get into a bit later.
Well, let's start there. We're talking about the trouble.
I don't think start at the beginning.
Oh,
just
boring.
Because. No. The reason being,
a circle.
The reason being, I watch every episode twice. The first time I watched just as a fan to enjoy it, and then I watched the second time to make notes. This episode, I'm so glad that I watched it twice because there is so much foreshadowing in the opening scene about what's going to happen. The first thing we see in this episode is Kate talking about how she voted for DC and she thinks that having Haley in the game is better for her long term. Oh, Kate, that was wrong.
Kate was so incredibly invested in this final 7 advantage alliance, which was...
I love that that's the first thing, and then the episode ends with Hayley being the sole reason that Kate is out of the game. Like, it's just, you can't write this shit. And then there's also Takan talking about how he just voted out his number 1 ally. He's going to go on to vote out his next number 1 ally. So, yeah. Oh, Matt's from New York. We've got international viewers.
Love having you, Matt. So, yeah, Kate was so... If you want to talk about Kate's discussion, she's been locked into this F7 advantage alliance since the merge. It's it is way... It's not just a case of, counting your chickens before they hatch or putting too many things in one basket. Like, this is just a nothing alliance. Like, it just is nothing. She's the only one that cares about it. And it's such a minuscule reason to come together. And the fact of the matter, I get why she's hung up on it because it's all she's got. But these other people in the alliance do not really care about it.
No. And it's very minuscule. And it's, as Hayley said, with Kate gone, they all still get something out of it. They still get, and with 3 of them, they still get a pretty decent advantage. So, yeah, it's definitely not a reason. Sorry, my cat is doing something. What is she? I'm gonna just can you vamp for a second? Sorry.
Well, I don't take notes. I just go from my memory. I want to talk about Hayley. We had a question about the oranges, and Jules didn't want to jump into the future, but I want to talk about what I want to talk about. So I want to talk about what a great player Hayley is.
Sorry. I'm always here to talk about what a great player Hayley is.
Well, I think what she does so incredibly well is give off an impression and speak in such a way, not that's unintelligent, she's clearly intelligent, but I think she when she's having the conversations, I think people would underestimate her a lot. When she speaks to us in confessional, we see that she's not to be underestimated at all. Very smart, very intelligent, knows exactly what's going on, very good street smarts in particular. But to other people, I think she comes across as a bit of like someone who's confused and doesn't really know what's happening, which is, of course, not what's happening at all. But that's being able to do that is so impressive. If that is the perception, you'd then need to flip it if you get to final 2, and that's a challenge in itself. But she holds herself with such holds herself so well that I do feel that people have a respect and love for her that I think they would be willing to hear an argument about how she was perhaps snowing them a little as to her actual capabilities. But it's so effective. I'm very impressed by it. I think if I was there with her, I would completely underestimate her, and then she would boot me. That's what would happen. That's exactly what happened. I think
she puts on a bit more of she really harps on the Kiwi accent and just acts really chill and laid back. And so, oh yeah, we can do that, whatever you want. But I mean, before this episode, I don't think we'd really seen her do anything that was like, I'm making this move. It was always, yeah, look, I'm happy to do what you guys want to do. Or at least that's what they're all thinking. This is the first time that she has solely been responsible for a move.
Well, let's talk about this move. And I know this is not how you wanted to proceed, but you left for the
I more wanted to go back to the thing with Kate at the start. So yeah.
I would like to know. Yeah, Kate said she underestimated her and then got booted by her. I wouldn't know anything about that. Yes, I would have been your shoes, Kate, I think. What I legitimately felt that she was considering a Mark boot here.
Hayley?
Edit or...
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, again, we see not to keep going back to the start, but we see at the start there's a discussion between her, Megan, and Jacob, and they're all talking about, we got to get rid of Mark. Mark is becoming a huge threat. And we see her in her confessional. She's talking about, I can't go to the end with Mark. Mark would win. But I think we've seen her mention it a little bit, not a lot, but Mark is a shield. Oh, yeah, she's saying she was. Yeah, of course she was legitimately considering it. But, yeah, I think she sees Mark as a shield and wants to keep him around a little bit longer.
As she should. So this is the question, going back to Matt Forrest's question, do we see it being an orange steamrolled? I really don't, because Hayley is an intimidating player. And although I know I just said that, so maybe she isn't. But I think people will wake up to Hayley. Mark's obviously very intimidating. It doesn't make sense.
They're all going to eat each other, I think, is what's going to happen.
I think Takan is a smart enough player to make a move when it's time to make a move. I think he can convince people that we need. Look, unless Mark wins immunity, like he's going to play the idol here. Unless he wins immunity on the next one, like he's gone, right? Like it's just no one's going to. Everyone sees him as too threatening to have at the end. And so then the orange start imploding, and then you probably look at Hayley, I think, and then you end up with basically a Jacob, Zoe, Jess, Takan, Megan final five. Well, actually, one of them gets voted out next week. I don't know who that is. But I think a final four of that group.
This next vote is going to be very crucial because I think the oranges are going to eat each other. I think that they have the ability right now to just the four of them steamroll their way to final four, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Jacob and Megan in particular really want to make a move against Mark sooner rather than later. They're not going to be able to next week, but they don't know that. They don't know who's idol expires final seven, so they probably think he's going to have it for a little bit. Hayley might be able to swing them to keep them around a bit longer. If they don't get rid of Takan this week, he will have his legacy advantage at final six. But I also don't think they're going to look at Jess and Zoe really. I mean, unless I think potentially I could see them wanting to break up Jess and Zoe at this next vote. I think that now that I literally just had a thought out loud, but I think that might be what's an issue. But they should be looking to take out Takan here. But I think it's going to be Jess and Zoe next.
I would say it's Jess and Zoe. I think it's Jess or Zoe, and then the oranges start bargaining each other. I hope, for the sake of the drinks and my bet, that it is Jess they take out. No offense, Jess. But I do feel it's that, and then Takan and that remaining of those green girls will be there to basically wade through the pieces of the once great Boondogs tribe and have a good shot at the end.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think next week is going to be a very interesting episode because if it does come down to we're going to get rid of Jess or Zoe, how are they going to decide? Because Megan's not going to want to get rid of Jess. Hayley's just saved Jess, so there must be a reason there. There must be a reason for her to want to keep Jess around. Mark is going to target Jess.
Why would Megan not want to? What is her relationship with Jess? Do you think
they've been besties since the start?
Oh yeah. Oh, they had the secret alliance. That's right.
Yeah.
The thing is, Zoe's the better one to keep.
Absolutely, but it depends who for.
For the people of Perth, so they can get
their
drink.
People of Perth, absolutely, but
no, but for everyone, because she's just not an intimidating player in any way.
I would agree, but I think for Megan, keeping Jess is the better option because that is an option for her, whereas Zoe, I think, is an option for the other three. But let's not think about next week too much.
Let's take us back to where we were in the episode before your cat ran amok.
Sorry, she was playing with a moth inside. I had to get rid of it. So, yes, we see the Orange Crew's trying to work out the votes. And Megan is adamant that Kate is the one that voted for Hayley. I wonder if this had anything to do with it, with Kate being the boo here. Just a little thought there. I don't know why they didn't immediately go to, well, it's probably DC.
Yeah.
Surely that was pretty obvious. But anyway, and that's when we see the discussion about getting Mark out. Megan does reveal her idol to both Hayley and Jacob. What did you think of that?
Hayley already knew about it. And when you have an alliance, if you think that's your three-person alliance, which I think that's what Megan does believe, then you need to tell the third person. Otherwise, they will cease trusting you because eventually Hayley might mention it to Jacob, which she would anyway because they're tired of Megan's the third in that group anyway. So, yes, it's absolutely the right play. Had Hayley not seen her get it, maybe a different story.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd agree with that. We have a Hayley confessional where she's talking about the green girls have got too much power now. And that's something we've been talking about for a while. They're the ones that have been able to make the decisions. Now, going into next week, that's when that's diluted a bit. But here, they are in a lot of power here. So that's a really good read. But Hayley also says that she wants to work with Kate. That didn't last long. But she also has Takan in her back pocket. That could be interesting for next week.
I'm not sure how much she has Takan in her back pocket, if I'm being honest.
Well, Khan was talking this episode about how he's at the bottom of the Orange Alliance, but he's still in with them from his time on the swap. Especially now that he's got no one.
Khan's problem is that he knows the moves, he wants to make the moves, but he lacks sometimes the courage to make the moves. I feel that he's probably considering, though, that if he makes the final 6, he's safe, and that's the time to make the move. People always feel a lot comfortable making a big move if they're going to be playing an idol.
If it can't backfire on you.
Yeah. And that's the time. And to be honest, it's not a bad time to be making a big move at the end game.
Yeah. Takhan's in my fantasy team, but I'm sort of feeling he's going far, but he's not winning this game, I think, at this point.
I feel like Takhan is going to struggle.
He could be a losing finalist at this point.
Yeah, I feel like in a final 2, depending who he's against, he may struggle to change the perceptions of him. And, you know, you're going to have all the pinks on the jury who, for the most part, he has screwed over. Yeah, so they're not feeling particularly inclined towards him, I would expect. Someone like Coach in particular, who values loyalty, was particularly valuing loyalty at this time. DC was his number 1, who completely threw him the bus. He couldn't do any. He could have done a better job here. Right? I don't know how much he really tried. This is the thing. Like, he's just letting these people go, which is probably the right play. But I'm not really sure how much he's trying to make it not happen, because he's like, I'm bottom of the Orange Alliance anyway, and when they implode, I can just like snake my way up, and that's what he's thinking. But it means he's not protecting those old guys who were sort of relying on him a bit.
I think you may be not giving Megan enough credit. I think playing the extra vote and at least telling people, hey, I've got this extra vote, I'm going to play it. She kind of forced him into a spot where he's like, well, Tara's going anyway, I need to vote for her.
Do you think that, well, we're jumping ahead again, but do you think to that vote, I feel that, yes, it would be very difficult to convince Megan not to play that vote. But if she felt like there was any value in saving it, he might have been able to convince her that he was not interested in the Rocks play.
Yeah, look, an extra vote is so situational that in a vote like this where it can make a difference, you might as well play it.
This is the situation. That's it. This is what these are for.
We had 3 extra votes played this episode. All 3 of them were played in different ways, and they're probably all the only ways to play it when it's such small numbers. You had Tara trying to force a tie. You had Megan using it to break a tie, and then Haley using it to cause a 2-1-1, which Haley, when we get to that, I love you for that. I love a 2-1-1. So
I don't understand the point of it in terms of leaving Mark in the dark, but we can get to that perhaps later.
We will get to that. But yeah, no, I think
it was a 2-1 actually. I think Jess may have played a shot in the dark.
Yeah, she did, but it was still 2-1-1 because
of course, sure.
Mark voted for Jess and Kate, yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, so we've talked about Khan. Mark's having a little pity party for himself because he was left out of the Tara vote. He didn't know that's where the votes were going. And
very hard being an Orca who thinks he's in control of the game.
He's throwing a tantrum. He's gone to Jess and Zoe and gone, we're going to get an orange out next. That's it. I don't like being left out. I'm sorry, Mark, if you're watching this. You're going to get roasted hard this episode, and we're not even at the part where I'm going to roast you. So,
is that not a legitimate strategy? Like, you want the people on the bottom to think
I'm just mad at him, okay? So I'm going to trash everything he does.
I'm just saying, it's a legitimate strategy to have the people on the bottom think that you are losing interest in the top alliance, because then you might be the person that they come to make a move.
Look, and I'll give them some validity. It's at that point when there's 4 oranges in a tribe of 9. He's got to be thinking, well, they're going to come for us eventually, so I might as well. Yeah. I'll give him some validity at that move. I'm just still mad at him for what he does later, but you know, I'll allow it.
Haley
told him it was Tara.
He must have forgot. Well, to be honest, Mark's just probably talking shit because, as I say, he's trying to bring these people in. Is it the best way to bring these people in? Probably not, but he's trying to bring them in.
Mark talks a lot of shit, even when there's no one around to talk it to. He was the one always here. Oh, he was not a feminist. He deserved. Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, I'm not going to defend those parts, but I think
I'm going to roast you that. But
potential
Mark is the one pushing Jess, and then in the voting confessional, he goes, "I'm just following the boss's orders." No, mate, this was your decision. That was clearly not the boss. Like, he's trying to put it onto Hayley, but even when he's by himself, he's doing that. So I'm not sure. I'm very confused by that.
I think he voted Jess because Hayley told him to vote for Jess, and he decided
he was the one pushing it on Jess. It's not the boss's orders. But anyway, we'll get to that.
Well, no, because Hayley blindsided him. She made him feel that it was Jess.
I loved it.
I don't know why, but anyway.
I loved it. Don't care.
Why? Well, tell me why. Why did she blindside Mark with this?
I don't know.
I don't see the point.
I don't know. Okay? I don't know. Yes, no, I know that Hayley said Jess, but when he's saying, "Oh, I'm just doing what the boss is telling me to do," he was the one telling Hayley that he wanted to vote for Jess. So
I feel like that's the edit. Like, that's just how it's come across. I think it was Hayley's plan to vote Jess, and then for some reason to dog them all and vote for Kate. I don't understand the plan.
To ask Hayley about
I think that was the plan.
In her interview after she wins, we'll have to make sure we ask her about that. But yes, and the other thing Mark is saying that he wants to get the extra vote back from Hayley because he wants another orange to go. He doesn't really care which one it is, and so he wants to make sure his advantage doesn't go with it. Instead, it gets played here, which I don't mind. He did tell her, "Will you play it?" So that extra vote is that all the extra votes? Was there only 3?
I think they're gone. Yeah,
all the extra votes are gone. Interesting.
I think so.
Mark is saying we had it said that Hayley would put 1 vote on Kate and 1 on Jess. Hayley changed her mind at Tribal Council, putting 2 on Kate. Oh, okay. That answers a question that I was going to have later.
Hayley's changed her mind.
Yeah, no, because I was going to ask a question later. Of what if Jess hadn't played her shot in the dark and it had come out as a 2-2-1? Would Hayley have voted for Mark on the revote? Which is answers that.
2-2.
So if Jess had voted for Mark instead of playing her shot in the dark, it would have been 2 votes Mark, 2 votes Kate, 1 vote Jess. So I want to know what Hayley would have done on the revote.
Yes, it's a good point.
But I think that comment from Mark kind of answers it, that if it was between Jess and Kate, she switched it to Kate. Yeah.
Was that the strategy then? Because she said she was thinking...
There's a part at Tribal where she whispers to Kate, "Are you going to work with me after this vote?" Yeah, it was a shot in the dark that made it a 2-1-1. I don't care. I still love it. But
I guess without the shot in the dark, it's a 2-2-1.
Yeah.
And there is a revote, and Mark therefore hasn't played his idol, and she can completely burn him. Was this the strategy? If this was the strategy, this is masterful.
I don't think it was, because apparently, according to Mark, there was always the plan for it to be 2 votes on Jess and 1 vote on Kate, whereas Hayley just switched it to 2 votes on Kate.
Right, he said it was 1 on Kate and 1 on Jess. She changed it.
Yeah, then he was voting for Jess.
It doesn't matter. Hayley was going to be in a position to completely control that revote. She would have 2 votes on the revote.
All right, Hayley, if it was a tie, would you have voted for Mark when he didn't play his idol? With his arrogant little, "Look at me, I'm not playing my idol." No, but so I want to know what Kate said to Hayley. When Hayley whispered to Kate, "Are you going to work with me after this vote?" And we see Kate whisper something back. I want to know what she said.
What's the point of saying that?
I
just don't understand. There
may
Kate
be some immediately just go, "Yes, of course I am." She leaned over and whispered something.
An amazing strategy here, or I don't know. Hayley's just doing things at random. This is the mystery that is Hayley, and this is why she's underestimated, but wrongly or rightly. I think wrongly. The social game's amazing.
She's underestimated by people in the game, by people watching the outside. We see her. I saw her in those cast assessment videos. I called her as a winner from day dot.
I'm not particularly sure about what this move is, but there may be a move here.
It's fine. It's, look, there's a bit more in there. I think I've talked about that.
Kate said, "I want to see Mark walk out of here with that idol around his neck." That's what she told him. Might have happened. Could have happened if Jess hadn't played. I loved it so
much. Mwah, would have been beautiful. Okay. Hang on.
Because this is the plan. Because if Jess doesn't play the shot in the dark, right, and Hayley does what she's supposed to do and put 1 on 1, that creates a 3.
No, it'd still be a 2-2-1.
No,
but it would have been 2 votes on Jess instead of 2 votes on Kate.
2-2-1. Yeah.
So Hayley literally changed it from Jess to Kate. But yeah, look, we get the tree mail about that they're gonna have a double elimination. You can choose to do one after the other.
Okay, you skipped a little bit where Tara has this grand plan where she can gather up the green girls now with basically everyone that's left against the 4 oranges, and maybe they can make a move. They've got some extra votes. Mark might come along with it for the right target potentially, probably Megan. This is a great plan. And I get why she votes for the split tribes, because it's a great plan, but can she pull it off? Whereas the split tribes, you're like, oh, I might get a lucky landing here, and then I'm golden, right? So I feel that it was, an unfortunate circumstance, but still, and I get why you go for the split, but I think she might have had more luck with the full tribe.
I think she would have too, but I think she wasn't really sure where she was standing, and her extra vote can be a lot more powerful in a smaller tribe.
No, it can be. It doesn't work out this way, but I get what
it doesn't work out. But if Megan and I don't know, if Megan's not there with the extra vote, then this works out really well for her.
It does.
Or if she's in the group of 4, even.
I just want to say, Hayley in this conversation has said, it's the jury everyone keeps forgetting about. I'm like, are you forgetting about the jury? You just told Kate you wanted to work with her when you sent her out the door.
True, but
hey, Kate, are you with me? Because I'm about to vote you out.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm interested to see the rationale behind that, and I'm sure we'll get that in a deep dive later. And if she's not the winner and we don't get a full deep dive, I'm just going to DM her and ask her what was going on there.
But anyway, whenever it is. Okay, so they do the split, makes sense, and then they go into the.
Well, the thing they've gone to the whole. You only need 2 split votes to make it happen. So basically, they were going to split it.
It's too small of a number. They only get 3 though.
They only got 3. They got Tara, Mark, and Khan.
If it 3 was probably a better number, but they get it anyway. Now, there was something I was thinking about this challenge and the way they structured it at the time. Because when did they split the tribes? Before the challenge?
Before the challenge started. Yeah.
I would have said that I would have done a thing where the person who was immune should be on the 5-person tribe.
Yes, because that made things really difficult for that group. They only had 3 options.
I don't know if it's you do the swap the groups after. That probably doesn't. Well, why
not?
No,
you do the challenge first, and then everyone else does the lucky dip to split them into 2 tribes. And then what does the immunity winner get to decide which tribe they go on to?
Sounds good, but why not? It's not like dividing them into tribes before the challenge made a difference.
No, it didn't, and it wouldn't make a difference.
It wasn't there were 2 immunity people. It was 1 person immune. So I would have liked to have seen the immunity person on the bigger tribe. I think that could have made a more interesting dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, look, not really much to get into with the challenge. Hayley wins it, and she looked like in the zone. I reckon she was going to be there for ages. That was a really good win for her. And I think she was feeling a bit nervous. Her name came up. So I think that's why she hung on the way she did. But we see a good point from Jess, her being like, you couldn't see the ball, so I had no idea when it was going to drop. In her mind, she hadn't even moved. So that was a tough one. Jess said, man, that would have been great. We're seriously cooked. Yeah. Well.
My strategy, that's my game play mechanic. I think it would have been a better mechanic. That's all I'm saying.
And we get a really emotional confessional from Hayley afterwards, talking about the weight loss journey that she's been on. She's lost 50 kilos since 2020. Now, that sounds like a fair way away at the moment, but this was filmed in early 2023? So she lost 50 kilos. Sorry?
It was earlier than that, I reckon. I reckon it's 22.
I think this was filmed a few months after Uncharted Waters. So I feel like this was January, February of 20. I'm talking a few months after. So
this was filmed before the Melbourne finale aired. Tara knew Tommy.
Yeah, but that was in the June, March 2023. Boom. See? So yeah, in about 3 years, she's lost 50 kilos. That is huge. She's talking about how, she used to not be able to run around and play with her kids, and now she's, winning immunity. So I was feeling emotional watching that. And then she, had a little crying moment.
She looks incredible. And, I think she attributes too much of it to the gastric band surgery.
No, you can't just have that and then be done with it. You still have to
obviously
work hard after.
That limits how much you can eat, but you still got the weight that you need to drop.
Yeah.
So she is obviously incredible.
That's a tool that she used, but it's not.
And it's a tool to stop you from eating. It's not a tool to stop you from losing weight. We'll get to help you lose weight. So she lost all the weight by herself. Yeah. So I think she should be giving herself the credit. And she looks amazing. I never would have thought this. No. I've been looking at her like a woman.
I was like, she's one of those bitches that's been skinny her whole life.
Skinny and fit her whole life. That's how I've looked at her.
So good on her.
Yeah.
All right, my next note is where I'm going to begin my rant. I will point out that when Dani realized she wasn't going to be able to make it, she did text me one note that she wanted me to go on about, and I was like, don't worry, I've got you covered. Mark. You said it before, you were anti-feminist. He was extremely dismissive of Jess and Kate. Mark, let me give you some advice. If you ever have to start a sentence with, I don't want to be rude, but you're about to be fucking rude. Don't do that. Completely shutting down Jess. Jess is trying to talk to him. Poor Jess. She knows that it's either her or Kate. She's trying to appeal to Mark. Hey, please vote for Kate, not for me. And he's just like, you don't talk to me. What? No, you don't need to talk to me. Like, go talk to Haley. You talking to me is wasting your time. She's like, but you've got to vote. Like, he is literally 1/4 of the votes that are going into this tribal council. Of course you should be talking to him. And then he's like, yeah, you and Kate need to have a conversation. No, she doesn't need to be talking to Kate. Because, yes, there's his plan to take out Mark, but ultimately, Jess is trying to self-preserve. Kate is not the person she needs to talk to. It's Mark and Haley. I've got so much more to say about Mark, but do you want to say anything before I move on?
I didn't. Later on, it gets a bit worse. On this one, I thought that he was legitimately trying to help her.
He was shut. She had no idea where his head was at. He didn't once say to her, yeah, I'm voting for Kate. You're good. Go talk to Haley. He was just like, no, you don't need to talk to me.
It was sort of implied.
But she didn't know that. She was still just like, no, it wasn't until he was like, you're voting Kate? Okay, cool. And she was like, okay, I didn't know where you were. Like, she had no idea where he was at. And he's just like shutting her down.
Mark, look, admittedly, Mark's a little bit high on his own supply in this episode. He's riding high on his power. He knows he's got the idol for the next one. He's wearing it around his neck. He's loving the power play. Maybe he did get a bit into himself, but that's what we expect from the orcas sometimes. This is the strong army.
No, this wasn't orca behavior. This is asshole behavior.
Okay. So sometimes the word
you would never have spoken to a woman like that.
I'm not like that, of course, but of course not like that.
And I don't want to get into too much into the feminism of it, but from Jess's perspective, I have been in her exact position where I've been with male co-workers who start sentences with, I don't want to sound like a dick, but, and then go and say something that makes them sound like a dick. And this is exactly what Mark has done here. And I was just raging inside on Jess's behalf.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so Kate is thinking that the final 7 alliances is what's going to keep her safe. She's going to Haley. We'll vote for Mark. If he's got something, he plays it. If not, whatever. For the person who is, most likely in her mind, or at least 50-50 chance of going home, if he does play something, she is being very cavalier about it. But she's spot on. She knows he's not going to play it.
Yeah, but what else? She may be cut. What else are you going to do? It's the only.
Yeah, Mark's aware. Okay, good. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yes. What else are you going to do? We'll go for Mark. He'll pick one of us. That'll be the way it is.
But I think she's right in saying he's probably not going to play it. When you're walking around camp with the idol around your neck, I know it's risky to vote for him, but what's the option? Just let them vote for you anyway. You might as well take the shot.
I get it. It's a smart play. I think you put more fear into people by wearing the idol. Like George has done this quite effectively in Australian Survivor on a number of occasions. Pulling it out, wearing it, does make people concerned, particularly on that bounce back. The fact is, though, this is probably the one time where it doesn't really matter because one of them is going anyway. There's no other alternative.
Yeah, especially with Hayley being immune.
Yes.
That's, if Hayley wasn't immune, then there'd be worthwhile. All right, the two of us are going to get together. We might vote for Hayley. We might vote for Mark. Who knows? So, so Mark, credit where credit's due. Mark thinks it's going to be a 2-2, and he tells Hayley, play the extra vote, so we don't have to play the idol. That I'll give you that, Mark. That was smart. Because again, extra votes, very situational. Not many cases you can be used. Here, instead of making it 2-2, make it a 3-2. You don't have to worry about using your idol. Yeah, I think it's very smart.
I know. Did it look like Hayley was considering Mark? She said here in the chat that she was considering it, hence why it seems so genuine in the confessionals. But I think that she's a savvy player, and voting out Mark here is an absolutely horrible move for her because everyone will then be looking at her. She needs Mark around as long as she can.
Yes, absolutely.
She's the next target once Mark goes. He's the shield right now, and he's shielding her. He's not really shielding anyone else now. But he's shielding her.
No, and I think Hayley is also shielding other people. So he is the only person that can, especially, I think, winning, the fact that she's been a target the last episode, she's now won an immunity challenge. She knows she's going into the next round with an advantage in a challenge. So a very good opportunity to win. So she knows that her threat level is steadily rising, and having Mark there is really good for her.
Then she shields
Mel saying saving Mark and the extra vote this round was the right play for Hayley. Yeah, I actually agree.
And she shields Jacob. Not nearly enough people are talking about Jacob's return from redemption and what that could mean.
But that can be a negative for a lot of people.
I think it depends if they like the player or not. I think if it's a player they like and respect and like what they've done, it's a feather in your cap. I think if it's a player that people aren't a fan of, then they'll say, who cares? I also think that he got swap screwed and voted out and got back. So it's not like he was playing a poor game and then recovered. Screwed without a vote, basically.
And I'm not someone that's not going to, like, some people will just, if you're in final trouble and you got voted out and got back in, sorry, I'm not voting for you for that reason. I am not one of those people. And I would also think something that's going for Jacob is the fact that he didn't miss any of the game. He was out and straight back in. It's very much,
it's the Hayley Leak situation. Dumb twist, in and then back in and out, back in the game. Did it make a difference? No, who cares?
Yes. But yes, anyway, so what else have I got? So now back to Mark being a dick. Kate
he's apologized. Do we need to keep doing this?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be a bit less evil to him now that I know he's not trying to defend himself, but I'm just, I'm reading what's on my notes. Kate approaches Mark and he just goes, okay, what did you and Hayley talk about? Before you say anything, she's already spoken to me. So, no, I know that you're pitching me. That was more of a tantrum than being a dick, but anyway. And once again, not to be rude, but...
Again, I don't actually hate the content. Of course, the delivery is poor. But I don't think he knows what... Hayley hasn't told him what she said. I think he's a little bit worried about Hayley in this vote. And I think he's using... Well, of course, Hayley's told me, so just tell me, right? As a way of trying to elicit the information. He's just not doing it in a way because I think he's actually a little bit worried.
Oh, yeah. This is fear.
Yeah, it's fear.
Because I've had a conversation with Mark in the real world, and he's not like that.
When you go an idol, it's good for one more vote, and you're in a tribe of 4 with only 3 targets, the fear of whether I should play this idol or not. I've never had an idol, but if you had one, I imagine the fear and the doubt about not wanting to go home with an idol in your pocket
but also not wanting to misplay it.
Yeah, is so overwhelming. And I think that's what's happening to him here. Whereas if he didn't have the idol, I think he'd be calmer because you can only rely on your alliance and hope that they stay true and you try and stick to that position. I think he's trying to gather as much information as he can to try and figure out what to do.
Yeah. But yeah, Mark basically tells Kate, look, Hayley's got immunity. I'm going to let her decide, and I'm going to go with what she wants to do.
That's the boss. That's the boss thing.
Yeah, is he trying to deflect a little bit of the threat off himself onto her? I'm not sure, but I got to think that from a jury management perspective, that's not great. Because Kate's walking to the jury now going, well, Hayley's the reason I'm here. Not Mark.
He's not playing particularly well this episode because he's scared.
Yeah. And then we see Mark saying, "I'm intentionally antagonizing Kate to make Jess feel safe." That's a choice. Okay. Yep.
I guess he didn't want her to play the shot in the dark.
Yeah, maybe. She did anyway. Kate tells Hayley that she is the reason. But basically, she's the reason I'm the reason you're still here. I voted for DC. I could have voted for you. Hayley, you know that old saying, when a person is cheating, they always suspect the other half is cheating. When you tried to pull a vote orange, it was the guilt. That is a very good point.
I like it. Yeah. For all he knows, Jess is spreading to Hayley that Mark just, half an hour ago was talking about voting out oranges.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that.
Maybe he's worried they're going to feed that information to Hayley.
Maybe. That would have been smart. I don't think it would have mattered, but still, like that, she probably did.
I think the problem with that sort of information delivery is if you're going to tell Hayley, you need to basically tell her immediately, because when it becomes in your interest to deliver the information, it is much less believable. Yeah. So he's saying that. Maybe he said it. Who knows? The context isn't there. It just feels like you're either repeating something he said or didn't. You're making it up. You're blowing it out of proportion. Whatever. You're just trying to get Mark out. It gives the wrong impression in this moment.
Yeah, I agree. We get a confessional from Mark where he says he wants to vote Jess so Zoe can be closer to him, which that's pretty valid. Thinks he's got an alliance going with Zoe. And then he arrogantly proclaims he's the bounty hunter and he's the only person that's voted correctly every tribal. Even last time when he was left out, he's someone that voted for DC. He's like, I'm going to vote correctly all the way through to the end. And then that gets pulled out from under him this episode.
Then he didn't say that. That was in the confessional, right?
In the confessional, yeah.
Yeah, but it did get pulled out.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Maybe that's the spoonful of salt that he needs to just correct himself a little bit. Getting a bit big for his boots, perhaps.
You deserve that. And maybe that was part of Hayley's reasoning that, she's worried about going far with Mark, and now she can say, well, he's got a vote he didn't do, and I did that all by myself. Maybe. I don't know.
In hindsight, now that he didn't achieve it, he no longer thinks it matters.
I agree. Voting records do not matter because sometimes, you vote technically incorrectly, but you know what's going to happen. Like if it's part of a split. So I don't really care about voting records.
You can just say I voted correctly in every tribal council. If you're at the end, it's something that's worth saying in these LRGs if it's true, because you have a little time to actually tell your whole story. But John said that. I think, and I didn't even hear it and voted for him. So I didn't vote for him. So
John had correctly every time. I would just were you on the right side of every vote, and I think Mark can say even though he voted incorrectly, he was still on the right side of this vote.
He can just say this was the planned split,
exactly.
I don't think it was though.
Megan, all orange had voted correctly at that point. To be fair, no, but he was more talking about the last vote where Tara played the shot in the dark. He actually voted for DC, who went out.
Yeah.
So he voted for the person who went out.
I don't think all the orange had the vote on DC.
Yeah.
Was he the only one that voted for DC?
Yeah, him and the pinks.
Yeah. And the pinks, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, so then we go over to the other side. And Megan is straight up pitching to Zoe, Jacob, and to Khan. We got to vote Tara. We couldn't get her out last time. Let's go again. And that's when we go to Tara and Jacob at the well, and Tara's like, I'm going to play my extra vote. Takan's going to vote with me. We are going to vote 3-3. Megan shot in the dark doesn't count.
It's not the correct vote.
You didn't vote for the person that went out, is the point. You voted in the majority, though.
Same as an idol. It doesn't count. You voted for the wrong person.
Yeah. So yeah, me and Takan, we're gonna our extra vote. We're gonna force a 3-3, and we're gonna go to rocks. Now we saw in the interview that Tara now knows that her extra vote wouldn't have carried over if she had the vote, but I don't think it would have mattered. I think if it comes out as a tie and she's like, right, we're gonna go to rocks, I don't think people are sitting there going, oh no, it's gonna, oh, Tara's not gonna have a vote, so we're gonna be fine. I think someone like Zoe is gonna be spooked to change her vote. I don't know about Jacob. Probably Megan was going to be the vote, but I think that would have been enough for Zoe to switch her vote to Megan, and Megan would have gone. If there had been the extra vote and the 3-3 on the first vote.
I don't think Zoe's going to rocks. I agree.
No, and Zoe isn't thinking about the fact that Tara doesn't have the extra vote on the revote.
Yeah, well, she would have been Khan, as she said in her interview.
Yeah.
If you use an extra vote to create a tie, should you have to draw 2 rocks? Because you actually had 2 votes in the count.
It depends how the rules are written, I think.
No one has the answer to this. I'm just postulating.
No, I know. Because I think the rules say it's about every person who isn't now immune. It's not about every vote. It's the number of people there. So I know you're just being funny, but your answer is no. You have to draw 1 rock. So yeah, like I mentioned at the start, I'm going to say it again. Sorry.
Would Takan have actually gone to rocks though?
Takan? He said in his thing that he was, he didn't go tribal or pre-merge. He wants to take a risk. But I think also, I think him and Tara probably had a conversation about we're just going to bluff. They're not going to go to rocks.
It's a 1 in 4 though, if they do for him.
Yeah, he's not going to do it. He's going to go to rocks.
1 in 4
Jacob,
times
I was debating to flip on Megan this vote, but I felt it wasn't the right time.
Jacob's here live. I don't think Jacob's been with us live before.
No. Everyone's here tonight. It's great.
Yes. He was thinking about flip on Megan, but it wasn't the right time. I don't think it's the right time either, Jacob.
No, it wasn't the right time. Especially not to vote out Megan, who fully trusts you and is with you.
Yeah.
It would have been the right time for Jacob to flip on Mark, but not Megan. The oranges were split in a perfect way, I think, for them, because Hayley's not going to flip on Mark. Jacob and Megan aren't going to flip on each other. So I think if it was a different grouping of them, we might have seen an orange go.
I'm just not sure if Takan would have gone to rocks. You go to rocks when if you don't have the numbers after the vote, you're fucked anyway, right? That's when you go to rocks. He's not in that position.
But I think, they're probably going to rely on Zoe not wanting to go to rocks and Zoe flipping her vote.
Well, that's fine, but I'm just saying, if that doesn't happen...
Imagine you have a situation where Zoe flips her vote and Takan flips his vote and it goes to a tie again.
Possible.
But because of all this, I think ultimately, and like I said, I'll say it again because Megan is now here live and she wasn't earlier, her playing the extra vote was a very, very smart move for her because, obviously Takan did still vote for Tara, but if he hadn't have, that absolutely saved her ass. Mark, I wanted to split because I knew I wasn't making it through the double tribal.
If it was going to be a one after the other vote.
Oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have survived.
Yeah. Well, he might have if he flipped.
He might have bluffed the idol the first one and then played the second one.
Yes. He could also flipped to the pinks, to Takan and the greens and Tara. And then if he did that flip, he might be okay. But you think the strategy for them might be that you'd get him for one vote, then vote him out the one after. That would be probably the strategy, and that's how you probably get the greens on board. To be honest, if you're Tara,
and splitting means you can only be voted for at one tribal, not 2. You basically get to skip a tribal.
Yeah, it's more people should have voted for the split. It's actually the much more stronger strategic position.
Kate, imagine a pink Mark alliance.
Well, that's what they wanted to do. That's what Tara and Mark were trying to manifest it, but no one else was keen. I'm conscious of time, and we.
I don't really have anything else. We talked about tribal already. Right, we've talked about the boots. I'm happy to go straight into Kate's interview.
I'm going to put Kate's interview on. Mel, come into the backstage so we can do TWIOLSH after that. Let's hear from Kate. She's here live, as is a lot of the cast. That's wonderful. Welcome to the Orca Pod. Fantastic to have you on. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I watch every week. It's very, very good show.
Oh, I haven't seen you commenting live. Do you watch it later or?
Sometimes I'm there live, but most of the time I have to watch it after.
That's fine. We love people that watch it after or before. So obviously, one thing that you wanted to really shine at being an escape room attendant master was to smash the puzzles. And you mentioned that in your exit confessional. Do you feel that you lived up to your reputation as the puzzle queen?
I think so. I mean, those puzzles at the start, I was so good at. I think if I'd made it to the triangle puzzle, I probably would have been able to complete that. I blame my styrofoam ball did not move. I moved that rope down. You can see me in the background just being incredibly frustrated at the end of that challenge. And absolutely terrible at throwing puzzles. Never completed any of those.
You can't do the throwing. Okay. So the puzzles are great. Perhaps there weren't enough puzzles for you. But one thing that I would like to puzzle out is how you now feel in retrospect about your absolute commitment to this final seven advantage alliance, which never seemed very real to me as a viewer. And you were basically hanging your entire hopes and dreams upon, from what I could tell.
I think I wanted to play quite a fluid game. So coming into merge, I was like, yeah, I want to work with other people. Um, Instead of being like pink strong, pink strong, pink strong. Um, so having something to, I guess, cling to, because like really we don't know each other that well. See, your word is only what you say. Um, and also other people, I don't know, like you hear me say to Jess, oh, Haley says remember the seven. So I think other people maybe were saying it more in person than they were in their confessionals about how important it was.
Okay, that makes sense. And perhaps it was because for Haley, someone like Haley, it was one of a number of things she had going on, whereas for you, it was a priority. I do appreciate that because much like DC, who we spoke to last week, you didn't have a lot of opportunity to build the bonds outside your original pink tribe. Um, uh, and so that was an important position for you. Going through it then, how surprised were you to find out that it was Haley that put two votes on you in this tribal council?
So shook. And I didn't get a chance to watch it beforehand. So watching it on Sunday was when I realized that it wasn't Mark this whole time. I think me and Mark had discussed it afterwards.
But you
But
didn't believe him. He was like, "No, it wasn't me." You're like, "No, I don't believe him, Mark."
it was crazy because also not shown. She's sitting there whispering in both me and Mark's ear, going, "Yeah, Jess, vote Jess." She goes to me, she goes, "It's Jess, it's on Jess, vote with Jess with us." And I was like, no. um, I was hoping that there would be like a tie or something on Mark if Jess voted Mark too. Forgot about the extra vote, you know. But yeah, I had no idea that it was on me, that from Haley.
The loyalty there to Jess is positive, and obviously she was part of the F7 alliance. But you know, with Mark holding an idol there, it seems like a lot of players might go into more of a self-preservation mode, which would be to only vote it's you or Jess in that scenario. But you didn't seem to want to play it that way. You took more of a risk. What was your thinking on that approach?
Mark is such a big player that I don't think he would have played his idol unless we convinced Haley to vote for him, and it was obvious in that fact. So I knew that I could vote for him, and I mean, I might be on the outs, but I would go down with my own, not dignity, but it's interesting that he never actually came up to me and was like, okay, yeah, let's do Jess. But I think that's the mastermind of Haley working so good in the background there that none of us even knew that it was her.
Did you know, and I guess this would have been a factor as well, that Mark's idol was only good for one more tribal council? Because that, I think, if you knew that, it feels like perhaps it's more of a risk he plays it here.
I can't remember for sure.
I doubt, because I doubt he'd be revealing that information.
I think also it would have been so cool. Imagine he does go out on that vote. I managed to swing it. What a move!
It would be
with an idol around his neck.
It'd be amazing. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. I'm honestly, look, I'm with you, to be honest, because I think that they should have voted out Jess, I feel like it's a better strategic move, and perhaps you were thinking that it made more sense.
Yeah, and I didn't know Jess would have played her shot in the dark.
The going back to the Pink tribe, we love to talk to the OG Pinks about what would have happened if you'd gone to a tribal council, because you seemed like a fairly fractured tribe. Tara, of course, talked about throwing a challenge to boot someone. Who do you think would have gone out if there was a tribal council pre-merge of the original 5 Pinks?
Oh God. I got no clue. I know I wouldn't have voted Tara, so they wouldn't have been able to convince me of that. It probably would have been Dave or DC, because I don't think I would have voted for Tarkan either, unless there was some weird thing going on there.
One of the episodes where you really took the forefront was your deception of poor old injured Altus.
Oh no.
He comes over to the tribe. He's looking for a lifeline. You butter him up. It gives you the clue. You completely like run off and find it without him. Then you don't tell him about it. Tell us through your thinking on all of that, because he seemed like he legitimately wanted to reach out and make a connection. And you know, from what you just said and what we saw, you weren't super close to DC and David, Coach.
Yeah, so that was like, oh my God, my biggest flop error, but makes for good television. I felt so bad because my goal there was just to make him feel safe enough to not play his shot in the dark and to be like, what do you think? Like, who do you want to go for? Blah, blah, blah. Then the whole idol thing happens. He's like, you lied to me, so I'm voting for you. I was wondering if he would be able to convince the others, at least one of them, to vote for me because of my deception, because the others were very much like, we're a tribe that trusts each other, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh my God, they're going to be like, she's lying, get rid of her. So going in, I didn't think they were going to vote for me, the 2 Pinks, but there was a small suspicion that they could. So then I was like, oh my God, I'm cooked. I'm gone. I genuinely thought that they were going to vote for me. I don't know why. This is how you feel in the moment. Because I don't think they would have. We also saw Altus as like this huge player. From the Pink's perspective, he goes in, he tries to vote Mark out. Now he's on Mark's tribe. Like, I think I was picturing him as this incredibly strategic, incredibly like switched on player. No, he's just a really nice guy, and he was just there for fun. Like,
and he was high the whole time on hardcore painkillers.
Exactly. I was like, oh my God, he's like this big strategic player. I gotta swoop in. And no, I probably could have just like been like, oh hey, like how's it going? Like blah blah. Like he's so lovely. What a lovely person that I just threw under the bus. So I felt awful.
I think you could have swooped him up as a number, done David or DC, and then perhaps had more inroads into the oranges at merge. But I love your perception about how he was being perceived in the short time that you had with him as this big player because of that move on Mark and the fact that he just owned up to it right away. It was bold. And then he comes to you and like,
he was like this strategigic mastermind. And then
the first time you meet him, he has an advantage. And you're like, what? You know, like this guy's got it all going on. This is, this is concerning. Like this guy could be playing me.
And I think after that as well, that gave me so much anxiety because I'm not a big strategic player. I'm just there for a laugh, for a bit of fun, you know. So after that, I think my gameplay tones down a lot because I was like, that's scary. I don't like the feeling of almost going home. I'm gonna chill out a little bit.
It's interesting that, you know, because I think that's not a common circumstance. In my here watching Survivor, the Venn diagram of people that are good at puzzles and the people that are good at the puzzle that is the human condition and playing that game and the strategic game with humans are generally like a circle, like one circle. There's no like, you know, so you like the puzzles that are inanimate, but you don't like the human puzzle in terms of the strategy.
I like being nice to people.
You don't like lying.
It's interesting as well. Throughout merge, I actually knew, like, I kind of was like friends with everyone. Everyone was telling me who they were voting for. Like on the Tara vote, everyone was like, yeah, we're voting Tara. And I was like, what? But no one realized, I guess, how close we were enough for me to tell her that the vote was on her.
It's obviously your ultimate downfall here probably though was this split tribe structure. Which always results in there being limited number of options, particularly in a group of 4.
Where one person is immune as well. So really, it's down to 3.
I think that not for that circumstance, you're probably going on a bit further. I don't think anyone had you pegged as a particularly immediate need to target, and you're perhaps a bit under the radar. Was that your strategy at that point?
Yeah, I'd say I definitely had toned down a bit, and I was just gonna like lie low. Like everyone was telling me all their plans. Jacob gave me the orange clue, which is why you see me searching an orange camp for the idol. We were actually searching together at one point. That wasn't shown. So I knew a lot of the plans going in. Maybe I went too hard on Mark. Maybe I should have gone for the Jess plan, but I wanted to stick true to what I thought was the truth at the time. Later have found out not, but yeah.
That, look, as I say, I understand why you hung your hat on it, because you had to build connections somewhere, and it makes sense as a play. It was really great seeing you on the show. I think you were a really bubbly, fun character. I actually think it would have been good to see more of you. I don't think we got to see enough of you, to be honest. But you obviously...
I love how I get my whole exit interview talking about all my favorite moments.
Do you have any more favorite moments you want to mention?
Oh, God. And honestly, like me and Tara stealing the ladle was so funny. Like it's just seen as this little like, oh yeah. But we were like giggling and walking around going, we stole the ladle. Like,
did it ever come back, or did no one just have it? It was gone after that.
I don't know. No one ever brought it up. We were the only people that cared, I think.
That must have been frustrating. You're just waiting for someone to be like, where's the ladle? You know, like
yeah. Also, I think Tara is such an incredible player, so strategic, fantastic. Can't believe we bonded so quickly. But it was really funny when I got voted out as well. I went around going, everyone said Tara was such a strategic player. Well, I beat Tara.
By like a matter.
That's my claim to fame, that I lasted longer than the biggest threat in the game, according to all the other players.
It's great. Like it's a couple of minutes, but you know, just like the older twin will always say they're the oldest one, even if they came out a minute or two first. So you know, you do have that on the ranking of where you finished in the season. You are one spot higher, and that is something to be proud of.
I also have something to show you.
Okay, great.
I have my survivor bag.
Mm-hmm.
But in here we have the pink idol clue that I never showed to anyone because I thought it led to the beware advantage, and I still have it to this day. No one ever knew about the pink idol except me.
And do you think you could have followed the directions? Because I think you did follow the directions and you found the beware advantage, so you assumed that was it. But that just creates a weird circular logic of various beware advantages.
Wow, yeah, I thought that he got a beware advantage that led to mine, and then that there would be like one idol.
Yeah, okay.
So I never tried again at pink. I like never went back to pink. I don't think anyone went back to pink. We mainly hung out in orange and green once merge happened.
You could have had free reign to go over there and just search.
Yeah, I could have just gone and looked, but I thought that it led to that beware advantage, so I never showed anyone. Never went back to look for it.
To be fair to you, they keep highlighting these idols on the bush on the screen, and I can't see a damn thing. I don't know what they're highlighting. It can't be very.
No,
big.
Oh my god, I looked for that orange idol probably for like 10 minutes during that last camp time, and nothing.
The directions are challenging, and it doesn't appear to be a big item. So I don't think you're alone. No one has found a single one of these original tribe idols. So obviously they were just too difficult to find. Thank you, Kate, so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you coming on and that you watch our show. We particularly love people that watch our show. You were great character, great energy. And you absolutely nailed the puzzles as you wanted to do. So you seemed like you had a really great time, and we really enjoyed watching you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was really, really fun. I can't wait to watch the next season. Oh, and the rest of this one. I haven't actually seen it, so I mean, I know what happens. I was on the jury, but I'm really excited to see how the edit plays out.
We are too. Thank you very much, Kate.
She's lovely.
Yeah, lovely. I still
have a little pink thing.
I feel like we didn't see enough of it. Like I didn't think I realized it was this lovely.
I think it's sort of similar to like the in Heroes vs. Villains, when Liz got really underedited because of her relationship with Shani, I think it's kind of a bit of that. She's the Liz to Tara's Shani.
Liz won the game.
No, I know, but I'm still just like in terms of confessional, people were upset we didn't see much from her because we always saw Shani.
Yeah, that's because I think Liz was a bit boring. Like, just I am Russian and I win. Like, you know, like.
Anyway,
it's more interesting than that. Anyway, we're getting on with Jake has some love for Kate.
Oh, everyone! I think there's a lot of love for Kate in the chat.
Yes, we all love Kate. She's amazing. Now to TWIOLSH, we did have a guest lined up. I think it was a late withdrawal. So we've had to pull in a special guest who played earlier this season. We weren't originally going to have the contestants of this season on TWIOLSH, and we did have someone else asked to play, but unfortunately the spot had already been filled with that late withdrawal at this point. But she's played twice. She's in that exclusive 1% club that Tara mentioned on different franchises. And we obviously had her this season already in an interview. Be great to get her now on. Let's welcome the queen of the Super Idol herself, Mel.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm excited to have you here. I'm ready for you to kick CK's butt.
Is she here, or is Dakota going to pop in again? And
yeah, sorry, I can't live up to Ash's fantastic edit she did last week. That was pretty good. I just bring me.
All right. Are you ready? Do you need me to go over the rules?
I think I remember.
I'll briefly go over them just for the people watching, because of all the hundreds and thousands of people watching. But you'll get the question. You can answer it by yourself and get 2 points. If you get it wrong, CK has the opportunity to steal for 1 point. If you take multiple choice options, CK cannot steal, and if you get it right, you only get 1 point. That's as fast as I've done it. So we, of course, have the mandatory backyard questions. Would you like season 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Well, I haven't rewatched anything. I started to rewatch 4 and then got distracted. So I'm going to go with 4.
Go with 4.
Iconic cast. Come on.
This is a great. I'm watching it for the first time right now as we go, and I'm loving it. It's a great season.
Such a good season, yeah.
So this episode saw the contestants have letters from their loved ones.
Yep.
Who received a letter from a former backyard alumni?
Matty C. He got a letter from Big Calvin.
He did, from King Calvin, I believe it was.
King Calvin, yeah.
For your information, Jules, if you don't understand it, Matt was a substitute player for this season. So he didn't have a letter. So Calvin wrote him one.
He had a whole 8 hours notice.
I love that Matt still bought it anyway. He didn't have to.
Yeah.
What? Oh, you bought the letter?
Yeah. I
was really interested to see what it was going to be.
All right. Would you like CK to have 1, 2, or 3?
I'll give CK my favorite season 2.
Oh, okay.
It's the best.
All right. Season 2. After John's vote out, players discussed putting symbols on their parchments at Tribal. Who put 2 lines under John's name?
Wow. Seriously?
This was a very big conversation they had. It was in my notes from our rewatch.
Yeah, but I don't skim over the conversations. Look, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, so we'll just go for it and hope for the best. And it was my boy Steven, I think.
It was your boy Steven.
Yeah.
All right, Mel, do you want 1 or 3?
Let's go OG 1.
OG. So this episode we had touchy subjects. Who was voted to be the most cutthroat player?
Amy O.
Amy O is correct.
You're on fire. I bet you didn't rewatch anything. Is this just a memory?
I didn't. I remember that one because I remember being shocked that Amy O was cutthroat.
That's some good memory.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I looked at the touchy subjects answers and went, which one is the most unexpected? That one.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the question. All right, so backyard 3 for CK. This episode, Kath, Zach, and Caitlin all went to exile. And what did they find there?
Nothing.
Correct. They got nothing.
Am I overthinking this?
Very nice.
All right, Mel, you can now choose any other season. Obviously, Brisbane there's no episode 8 for Brisbane and no Melbourne 1. So out of the Canberras, 2 Melbournes and 1 Sydney.
I reckon if I go Canberra 2, you're going to make it really hard. So I'm going to go Canberra 3.
That's probably a smart choice.
She's been watching. Every time these guests come on, and it's a season they've been on.
I'm not doing my own. No, like I've got not.
Well, I literally asked. I'm like confirmed. I'm like, it's definitely Mel that's going to be the guest. All right, Canberra 2 is going to be a hard question. So for Canberra 3, the immunity challenge was idle hands in knockout style. Ed won immunity. Who did he beat in the first round?
Oh, Ed was against. Was it Bethany?
It was Bethany.
Oh, yeah.
Another perfect score. All right, CK, spin the wheel. I'm not going to choose it for you this one.
Have you got another tiebreaker lined up?
I do have another.
I've only lost on timebreakers so far. So
you have.
Warren Dirt.
Going to Warren Dirt. All right. So the immunity challenge had players bouncing a ball on a disc. And we saw our Backyard 5 Zone Tara win immunity. Who was the first person to drop out?
Rancy.
All right, we're going on a tiebreaker. Fine. All right, so once again, I'm going to get both of you to text me your answers just so we can lock them in.
Oh,
Mel,
Jules, I'm on my phone.
Do you have a pen and paper or something?
Actually, let me do it on Messenger.
It was just on Messenger.
If you can get something up.
Yeah.
Just a way to lock it in, just so we don't have people hacking.
Yeah.
So
I'll put it on Messenger. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So once again, I'm going to ask you to give me a number, whoever the closest is correct. I'm going to refer back to my spreadsheet I made last week of all the players and their names and their
Hang on, I'm not ready yet. Give me a second. All right, I'm ready now. Sorry.
You're ready. All right. So I want you to text me a number. In all of the Australian LRGs, including Backyard 5, how many players have had the starting initial P?
Ooh.
These tiebreakers are horrible. They always kill me.
They're going to be hard.
If you played twice, did you get counted twice?
Yes. So anyone who's played, if you've played twice, your name's in there twice. So have both of you texted me?
I haven't texted anything.
I have.
Wow, that's quick. P. Trying to work out through some P players.
Oh, did you say P?
Yeah, P.
I thought you said M.
Okay. I'll let you send a new message then.
No, her answer counts. I couldn't change last week. No, of course, no.
You misheard me.
Yeah, I don't know how she heard P for M, but anyway.
P for, I don't want to say a name and give it away. P for pineapple.
P for Pia.
He wasn't first. All right.
No, this is just in LRG, Australian LRGs, not all of like Australian Survivor or anything, just Australian LRGs.
I don't know. This is a best guess.
All right, I've got an answer from Mel. CK's thinking.
I think
it's about, do I do this strategically or do I do what I think is?
Well, that's why I got you texting them, so you can't do it strategically.
I'm gonna go with this.
All right.
I actually think it's 0, but I wasn't prepared to go with.
All right, so you've given me wildly different answers.
Yeah.
Mel has gone with 25.
Way too high.
CK has gone with 3. The correct answer is 1.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
Pauline from Canberra versus the World is the 1 P. There is no Peters, no Pauls, no anything.
No Phillips. Like I'm picking 2 names, and I just think. Yeah.
Let's go back to M.
Look, your original guess of 40 for M is still pretty high.
I think she actually gave the M answer on the show last week as 26 or something.
Oh, I thought it was
The
30.
the J was the most, and that was like 29. But yeah.
Yeah, fair.
But a gallant effort nonetheless, Mel.
Oh,
Losing in a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
That's incredible. No, that was an incredible effort, Mel. If you didn't actually go back and rewatch the episode,
And it wasn't, you weren't sitting there thinking long. It was bang. It was instant recall.
And watched half of, I literally watched half of 4 today, and I was like, yeah, that's enough. Got things to do.
That's amazing, because like I know the answers, but I did the work like right before the day of the show. So that's an incredible effort. Some of those answers, amazing job, Mel. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks, Mel. Thank you for coming on the show, and great to see you. Well, I remain undefeated, other than tiebreakers.
All right. Was that your first tiebreaker that you've won?
No, I beat Zach in a tiebreaker.
Oh, you did too.
When I guessed the amount of LRG episodes at 100.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live. We love having you here. A lot of the cast and other fans of the LRG community. I'm trying to get the right thing. There it is. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Jules. Obviously, we wish Dani well and better. Obviously, she'll be back next week, and she can talk all about her LRG Collide experience. But until then, watch on Sunday, and we'll be back with you next Wednesday.
Bye.
All right. There you go.